Hi, everybody. Cappi Pidwell here. And today I'm going to be interviewing Mickey. She is a real estate agent and a team leader, and she is also one of my clients. So I love sharing people's outcomes, the results they've gotten, where they were stuck, or what they're struggling with, some of the biggest challenges that most busy professionals deal with today, and how to move beyond those and have massive breakthroughs. So, Mickey, thank you so much for being here. For those of you that don't know me, I am a master of NLP and hypnotherapy, and I'm Cappi Pidwell. So, Mickey, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to ask you some powerful, intriguing questions for our audience who are entrepreneurs, business professionals, and people that are also looking to get some big breakthroughs. So, welcome and let's share with everybody what you do and where you are and what you're up to.
Well, first, I want to say thank you so much, Cappy, for having me. I'm so excited to be talking to you today. Yeah, my name is Mickey. I'm a real estate agent, and I'm just in the place in my career that I'm not only selling homes, but I'm also training other agents and able to be an influence on others and taking on some other leadership roles as well.
I love that. So I'm going to ask you some questions, Mickey, and take you back a little bit, like I've been doing with some of my other clients, because I think when I'm working with people in their subconscious mind, they often don't realize the subtle shifts and the changes that occur. But of course, for me, I'm on the outside looking in, remembering when I met the person, remembering where they were, what their stuck points were, or their stressors were. And sometimes as you evolve, it's like a plant. You don't really notice it growing every day. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden it's a big tree, right? But
Yeah.
for me, I noticed the growth a little more. So let's rewind and go back to before you met me, had a team, you've done a lot of coaching and training and personal development. So this is not new information to you. But
Correct.
when you first met me or heard me speak, what was different or intriguing to you that made you say, I want to work with her?
Like you said, I have done coaching with other people. I believe in having a coach, someone you can follow in their footsteps, and then someone you can also pull with you, right? Being a positive influence on others. And so around the time that I met you, I was having a lot of nightmares. I don't know if you remember this. I was having nightmares and I was having like daytime nightmares where these flashes of memories were coming up and it just kept coming up. So you and I were already kind of working together on a project. And then I was like, hey, I'm dealing with this. Like, is this something you can help me with? Like, is this something that's kind of in your, subject matter? And that's where I originally approached you for helping me. Yeah.
Mhm. And then once we started working together again, because you've done other work, how
Mhm.
was this different getting the closed-eyed session and the recording that you could listen to every night on your phone? What was that experience like?
I felt like it was easy. Like, what? Like, you work with a coach and it's like, okay, do your notebook, do your homework, journal this, journal that. I'm all about journaling. I'm all about, brain dumping and doing the work. I'm all about doing the work. Show up, have the right heart motives, and do the work, right? But I felt like working with you was a little too easy. Wait, I just listen to this when I fall asleep at night and then in the morning, and that's all I have to do. And I do believe in that subconscious. One of the things that I knew I wanted to form was good habits. I lose my keys. Where do I put my keys? So I knew already. I say that because I knew that my subconscious was absolutely being affected. And even though I had gone through coaching and coaching that I've gone through has been successful. It's great coaching, not to knock anyone. It's not like I was like, oh, this was terrible. Let me go with Cappy. It was like I had some journeys in my life. And then when I met you, I was at a different place,
Of
which
course.
it became really helpful for me because it wasn't hard work. You just show up and you listen every night, listen every morning. And yeah, it was great.
I love that. And then what were some of the things you started noticing for yourself as you were listening to it and that subconscious session was rewiring you? So when you woke up prior, and I know sometimes it's hard to recall back,
Yeah.
but what were some of the things you began noticing about yourself?
I would say confidence. It's one thing to, I'm going to say my affirmations. I'm amazing. It's one thing to like kind of force yourself to have confidence. Or I even have told agents that I mentor, okay, just today you're going to choose joy. Today you're going to choose confidence. You're identifying as a realtor. I mean, I have agents that do real estate that don't identify as a realtor. I mean, it's shocking, right? So for me, it was just like, it wasn't this, I'm trying to fake it till I make it confidence. It was more like, wow, I feel confident today. You know what I mean? Like, it's already there. So that's just confidence is one example.
I love we did some what did that do? Because did see a tick up in your business when we were working through those processes. What do you think that confidence, in addition to whatever else, because you're now attracting brand new opportunities into your life as
Yeah.
well. But what do you think that leveling up did for you in your income or in your business or in the capacity to get more sales?
It's really hard to, as you know, Cappy, to like put your finger on like, okay, it did this. You're like you said, you're like a plant who's like you're watching a plant grow. Every single day you don't see it grow, right? But I know that when you and I started working together, my phone rang and all of a sudden I had 4 listings. I remember that. And I was just like, whoa,
Or yeah, or
I had 4 right away, and I'll be honest, I felt like July 2022 for me in real estate, some major things happened in my life, and I felt like there was just a vibe, like my phone stopped ringing, you know what I mean? And then when I did the sessions with you, right away I got 4 listings, gosh, like back to back. I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. I wanna say within that first 2 weeks after, like we worked together, maybe I would say I'm trying to think of the timeline, maybe we worked together like a month, but within a 2-week period, I had 4 listings. And so it wasn't long after that I worked with you that that happened. And I think I opened escrow. I'm mostly opening escrows, but we'll call it chasing, right? You're master of NLP. I was always chasing listings. Like, I want to get listings. I want to get listings. But the buyer side is kind of like, meh, I got buyers. Like, we open escrow, no biggie. But
right.
being a listing agent is something that, oh, I want to build that confidence. But there's a difference between, oh, I'm a listing agent today. I'm fake it till you make it trying versus like, oh, I just showed up to work today at my desk and my phone rang and they said, hey, I want to list my house. There's a big shift I feel there.
For sharing that because I think that's what happens for most people. I want to share with our audience all the traditional training out there, as Mickey mentioned. There's no bad training. It's just what's been
Yeah.
available to people is take massive action, set your goals, do your affirmations, all those things. It's not that it's bad, but I find that that only works for about 20% of the people. And the
Mhm.
other 80% of people get frustrated because they have the desire, they have the drive, they want it, they're working hard. It's not even a lack of effort. A lot of that information isn't changing their inner identity, if you will, at an emotional level. They're
Yeah.
not integrating all the things that I'm planting in your subconscious as I'm rewiring you. All of a sudden, you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel a little different. The next day, I feel a little different. I call it the daily drip, right? You're getting these subtle subconscious suggestions, and then all of a sudden, you start attracting different opportunities. Different things begin to occur. There's no coincidences. I tell people all the time, you're like a tuning fork. So if somebody's vibrating in stress or I got to get a deal, you're going to align with buyers and sellers like that. I got to sell my house and they're a big pain in the butt or they don't want to pay you or whatever
Mm.
it is you're doing. That frequency, I always say it's never what you're going to, it's what you're coming from. That
Mhm.
frequency is felt. People feel
Mhm.
us first. Within the first 7 seconds of meeting us, people feel us. So if my vibration is lack, worry, there's no money, there's stress, I can't get the business, there's not enough business, whatever people tell me, then that is precisely what they keep living into. And
Mhm.
people hear those terms, and the best metaphor I have for this is it's kind of like if you see a bunch of rust on a handrail or something and you get spray paint, you just spray paint over it. The rest is gonna stay there. And
Mhm.
that's, I think, what affirmations and a lot of that conscious logical work does. It's a spray paint, but the person still is dealing with that core lack or that core
Mhm.
belief about themselves. So
Mhm.
I often say I have to undo more than I have to do for people
Yeah.
because they've got themselves in a mental prison, right? So as your confidence increased, as you started to not just attract, you were doing the work. You were
Mhm.
listening to the sessions, and people say, use words like manifestation and law of attraction. Well, you're always manifesting. But if you live in worry and lack and stress, you're just manifesting more than that. So manifesting isn't some big, wild, wonderful thing. It's what you're thinking and being all day. You're
Right.
constantly manifesting. So as I help people make those inner adjustments through the sessions, through the coaching, through the inner alignment, if you will, then you go out into the world with a new sense of self that starts to create different conversations, different experiences, different opportunities. And all of a sudden, Somebody will call me or text me and say, Cappy, I can't believe it. And I'm like, shock me. I already know what's going to happen for them because now they're vibrating. Their frequency is not coming from stress, lack, worry, uncertainty, insecurity, fear, all the stuff that we get bogged down with that I often refer to as BS. It's your belief systems, and most of them are full of BS about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I noticed too, even going back, because time has passed, like, I'll have days I had this the other day where all of a sudden I felt worried, and I'm like, "Zip it on the worry," and I went and listened to an old I've been listening to one over and over again because you say listen for 2 weeks. I don't know how long it's been, so I listened to that same one. It's almost like meditating, right? I needed to breathe and not come from that place because you say it all the time, but I can't remember exactly how you say it, but it's like, you gotta work on this every day. I need to take a shower every day. I need to brush my hair every day. And I need to listen too because, the other day I was just like, why am I worried? What am I worried about? You're good. You're good. It just comes in. You got to let it back out.
You brought up some really good points I want to elaborate on for a minute. So, first, you said meditation, and somebody said this to me the other day. I want to clarify there's a big difference between meditation and what
Hmm.
I do. What
Hmm.
I do is I help with subconscious patterns, subconscious pictures. The subconscious is used to doing what feels familiar to a human being, to a person.
Hmm.
So if lack feels familiar, it's already wired to do that familiar feeling, okay?
Hmm.
And instead of meditating where people are trying to be quiet and get guidance and insights and stream water, that's all fabulous. But hypnotherapy is very specific, almost surgical suggestions
Hmm.
for that individual to get the outcomes they want. So that's the difference. So sometimes people go, oh, Capri, listen to your meditation. I'm like, it is not a meditation. It's the same state of mind. The alpha, theta, delta state is the same
Yeah.
meditation. But what I'm doing for you in that session, I think because I've been doing this for 30 years, I think I make it look very easy.
Yeah.
And I read a person really fast, and the words just pour out of me because I feel everything inside of them. But I'm literally reconfiguring and rewiring your subconscious through that work I'm doing. And I'm recording that process for you so that when you then go listen, it's all speaking to every single thing inside of you. And
Yeah.
when we're hitting that emotional level, that mental level, that spiritual level, that heart centered level, that cellular level. That's why people wake up and feel like you say, oh, I caught the old thought of worry, because that was there way longer than these new emotions were there. But you were able to catch it and go, hey, wait a second. The new me, the new cellular self can experience this different. And
Hmm.
that's the power I really want people to understand. Hypnotherapy, I'm a master of NLP, master hypnotherapist. I do EFT, NLP. I do a lot of different techniques in the subconscious. But I will tell you, those sessions to me, they have created magic for my clients. I
Hmm.
know it's because I'm integrating so many different processes into my coaching system. I'm using NLP, I'm using EFT, I'm using all those things for that individual, for you to get those specific changes for you because what you might want might be very different from what my other client wants, right?
Right.
So, like the
Right.
dream thing, for instance, right? That's not a common thing people come to see me for. But to me, I already know there's a lot of stress and it's showing up in your subconscious as you're sleeping. I know that's what it's about.
Yeah.
So, past, energies, past emotions, past stuff that people can't logically figure out, but it's still running in the background of their mind. So, when we can clear that energy and then create new seeds, that's what I call my sessions, like new seeds that get planted in you, they start growing every day. And then you mentioned I say, "Listen," because that's like the watering, that's the repetition. It takes time for our consciousness to shift and to feel newly and enriched when we've practiced and rehearsed stress,
Hmm.
lack, worry, fear, whatever for 30, 40, 50 years. Make sense?
Hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you're right. It is a daily deal. I do it every single day. I've been doing this 30 years, and there's never a day I don't spend 10 to 15 minutes in my own mindset. I was speaking at an event yesterday, and some ladies were like, oh, I just don't have enough time. Time management's such a thing. And I said, well, first of all, that word feels really icky. How about creating the freedom that you get to do what you want during the day? What do you want to do with your time? We all have the same amount.
Hmm.
So, how much time are you sitting on a cell phone or a screen watching videos that don't empower you or don't enrich you? Are you
Hmm.
watching war videos? Are you watching car accidents? Are you watching people getting kidnapped? Like, what are you spending your time on? Because
Yeah.
that's also going into you and getting ingrained or making you feel fearful or, oh gosh, the world. Or I shared yesterday at this event, I'd much rather close my eyes for 10 minutes and practice world peace and see the globe in love and joy and beauty and nature and let the creator of all of us just keep aligned with more peace on the planet than watching 10 minutes of bombs or something. So it's
Mhm.
what we do with our time. I'm not saying I'm right and anybody's wrong, but I'm very conscious of what I'm putting my attention and intention on because I
Yeah.
know that's going into my cellular structure.
Mhm.
Makes
Yeah,
sense?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely makes sense.
I always say the answer's already within you. I just help you awaken it. It's already there.
Yeah.
You don't have to go searching for it, but it's almost like taking a bunch of bricks off of a person and then letting them go, wow, I've been
Yeah.
carrying all this mental, emotional weight around with me for all these years. And now I'm clear. And then the next step is now what? Now, what do I do with this clarity, right?
Yeah.
This focus? Where do I put this energy now?
I like that you say, the answer is already within you. Because I feel like the last year for me, I'm getting to practice. I think of it like Jiminy Cricket. I get to practice hearing my gut, trusting my gut. And I feel like in my life in general, I've questioned my gut. Is that my gut? Is that me overthinking? Is that me being emotional? Is that me changing my mind? Is that me being a woman? Like all of it. And I'm not going to say that I feel clearer now. I feel clearer, but I don't 100% feel clear, which is, going back to doing the work, right? I was sweeping my house this morning and I was thinking, see, if I could just sweep once and be done, I don't have to come back and sweep again. It's kind of the same thing. You just
That's a
could have,
good metaphor. That's a good metaphor. Yeah. Well, think about how much happens in a day or even now. Gosh, I feel like a month is a week. It's just time is flying by. But think about how much we're exposed to, right? We are constantly on these cell phones watching videos. We're getting interrupted constantly. Text, being ring, someone emails me, someone calls me, this person needs this. We are multitasking and more outward focused than we've ever been in the world because of technology and the fast pace of our world today.
Mhm.
And that's not going to change. It's going to continue to get bigger and more. It's very taxing on the brain. It's
Mhm.
very taxing on our energetic system. And I think more so even for women than men. Men were wired to work, to produce. I always go back to caveman days. The women were hungry and the women were like, the men are like, "We'll go kill the buffalo." And so the men were the producers, the men were the action takers, and back in the day, women would sit back and receive, and they'd come home with the moose or deer or whatever they killed, and men would be like, "Yay, you're the best, you're my hero." Clean it and cook it, make it taste good, and feed the family. So our roles have changed so much. But
Mhm.
now women are hunters. Women are out there going, "Get out of my way. I'm killing the moose. I'm gonna bring it home and cook it too, and then I'm gonna feed the family." It's a whole different world today. But men's roles, they really haven't changed much. They were wired to work. They were wired to be the producer. They were wired to be the provider, if you will. And women have only really entered this hardcore working world in the last, what, 50 years, maybe. So I
Mhm.
think our dynamics of what taxes the brain, what fuels our sense of self. Women do things very differently in the sense of we build business much more in relationships. A
Right.
lot of sales training is about take massive action, read scripts, make 100 calls a day. That's very masculine energy for women. Now, a masculine woman would like those tasky things. Those work for about 20% of people. But I've done a lot of studying lately, and I have a link, I'll put it below. It's called thebusinesswomansway.com. I wrote an ebook on this, and I have another video here on YouTube, and it's the 9 steps to selling and where you need that masculine energy and where you need your femininity. And it's really powerful for women, I think, to understand today. I'm kind of getting a little sidetracked, but I think it's important to have these kinds of conversations because when we're building a business or we're building a team, it's all about that communication, that collaboration. How do we serve each other? How do we support each other? It's not about, well, what can I get from this person and what can I take over here? It's like,
Mhm.
how do I build a platform that serves a community and also monetizes me? And you and I have talked a ton about monetizing you.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I was going to say a lot of those key terms in terms of the femininity is serving, right? I get called oh, you're a servant leader. That's a common thing that people say about me. And so serving, but then also monetizing, right?
And
So
we've changed that for you, though. I know that that has changed. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Because you used to do a lot of that. So let's hear your
my goal in 2026 was no more volunteering. And I don't mean volunteering for our viewers out there that don't know me, it's not like, oh, I'm going to American Cancer Society and volunteering. It's not that. But in real estate, it's so easy to work for free. A past client calls you and says, hey, do you have a plumber? They call you and they say, hey, do you know so and so? Do you know? Can you get my such and such? I'm trying to think of an example, but this happens all the time, around tax time. Can you pull this paper? Someone called me and said, hey, I shredded my trust and now I need it. And here I am spending all this time trying to figure out where I'm sure we have it somewhere, and it's like, I'm not making money off of that. So it's so easy to be in this industry and work for free, especially in the position I'm in where I'm mentoring other agents. Agents call me, hey, can you help me with my form? Hey, can you help me with negotiate? Hey, can you help me with repairs? Yes, I always say yes. But am I monetizing? And that's where I think you and I have been working together because I do love giving to other people. I love tipping big. We went to Lens Crafters yesterday and it's like, would you like to round up for such and such charity? It's like, it's everywhere. Yes, I do. I do. Guess what I do? I want to give.
yeah.
That's how I'm
So
wired.
so I think that that's awesome, but I also think a lot of times for women that do overgive, they're not getting their needs met, and there's a
Mm,
whole bunch of subconscious stuff with that, right? So that's why I was talking to you before about when you're making a decision and you've got decisions, you're making decisions right now and
mhm,
you're all transitions in life, but you
mhm.
have to figure out, is this going to serve me as much as I know I'm going to serve other people? It's
Right.
like even if a coach or someone else in business is not in real estate, anybody watching this video, it goes back to the same thing. What do you charge? Are you charging your value? I have a price point to work with me. It's not expensive. I make people that money tenfold back. If you're leveraging or overgiving, and I would say this to our viewers, if you're overgiving and under earning, that is a subconscious thing you need to rewire 100%. So we
Mhm.
want to give and come from abundance, come from love, come from contribution. 'Cause trust me, there's a lot of people that will love to take and people say, "Cappy, can I prick your brain? Can I do this?" No, you can't. You can do a 30-minute consultation with me. You can book it. I'll answer some questions, but then it's either you make the decision to work with me or you don't. In your business, I don't think realtors are used to that because they do jump through 5 million hoops to hope to get a deal. But you're the
Mhm.
one that sets the structure. You're the one that sets the business model. And I can
Mhm.
tell you people that are making massive millions, they do not do those things.
Mhm.
They don't.
Yeah, I
So, that's why
get
I
it.
talked to you about monetization. I'm like, "Wait, let's look at this," and every time we chat on the phone because for those of you that are watching, we're also have become friends through this process, but, I'll tell you, I'll say, "I'll just share my opinion, and then you do whatever you will, but here's what I suggest," right? And look at it this way, and then it's like, "Okay," because that's a hole that I think a lot of women that especially in sales, they don't wanna be too pushy, they don't wanna ask for too much, they don't wanna be bothering people, but man, they'll give away the shirt on their back, and that doesn't always put you in the position of having good balance in your income and in your outcomes.
Mhm.
And then you get to choose, where am I going to invest my time? Where am I going to invest my energy? Who do I
Mhm.
want to be a contribution to? And where is that going to be received and reciprocated for me? So you're just not pouring out all day.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the day, you're drained like, I ain't got nothing left for me. I'm tired. And that,
Well, and at the end of the day, you're going, I gotta pay bills too. I can't be homeless and give.
right.
It
Right.
doesn't work that way.
No, it does not work that way. So I think the beauty of really rewiring and the understanding of everything that you've done with me is having that abundance energy. And when the worry or the fear pops up, or the lack of a lead or a lack of a something happening, then going within and saying, there's plenty, right? It's practice. You're so right. It just takes a lot of practice
Yeah,
not to go
but it's
down.
so easy. What
Well,
you give
easy
is so
because
easy.
it's easy because you've lived on the lack loop, or most people live, I call it the lack loop, inside your brain for years and years, and I can't tell you how many clients I have that have master's degrees that still are emotionally a mess. They go, "I have these degrees, I have these pieces of paper, however, my marriage failed, I drink too much, I hate my job," whatever their stuff is, right? So just because you set your goals and you accomplish some things at the end of the day, and that's good, I'm not saying it's bad one bit, I'm just saying until we understand what's happening on the inside in that loop, that how do we then create the wealth loop, which is what I feel like I help people do, right? How do we create a new loop in the brain and the sense of self and the cells and all that stuff? And that is a process.
I definitely feel like working with you is like it's hard to explain, but it's like that last key. Like, oh, this is what I was missing. I have my degree, like you just mentioned, and I've had coaches and I do the work. I'm a good student. I read lots of books. But then I was like, but why am I not as successful as I expect to be? I am well spoken. I do have great relationships, da 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 da, like fill in the blank. But why am I still not reaching my goals? So I felt like meeting with you is like, oh, it's my subconscious. Like,
I love that. I
yeah.
love
And I always think I've said this to you before, and I said at the beginning, it's I'm always thinking about my keys because that's one thing through my whole life. Like, where are my keys? Where are my keys? I lose my keys all the time. I don't anymore. I'm like, I need to get back to my sessions. I'm always relating it back to my key. And I literally mean my car key. Hang it on the hook when I walk in my house. And if I'm getting in that bad habit again, I'm like, oop, I got to listen. Am I listening to my sessions? I got to listen to my sessions. You know what I mean? Because
great. That's a great trigger. That's a great reminder.
yeah, because I know that it's bad habits. Like, where are my keys? They're nowhere. They're not in the same place all the time, as an example. So I know for me, a lot of, blocks we'll say are because of the subconscious. So it's really, really been helpful.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, I think that people don't realize what's happening inside or underneath. I'll tell you guys a quick story. Yesterday, I was speaking at an event, and I every time I do an event, I write a different talk, and so it's different in case the audience has seen me or heard me. So I wrote this new talk, and I thought people hear so much information today. I'm going to have them do exercises through the whole thing. And then ask them questions periodically, and then we're gonna discuss it live and keep everybody in that conversation, and so we did that yesterday, and my first question was, which I would ask our listeners to do the same thing, write something down. What is your biggest business challenge right now? And it was interesting just to observe the energy in the room. You could see some people going, "I don't even know." Some people knew right away. Some people looked confused, and they were like, "What's the question?" All that uncertainty was happening for them. Here's the
Mhm.
question. What is your biggest business challenge right now? And then one lady raised her hand and she said, "What if I have 10?" I said, "Pick your top one. Watch what your mind does." And that's really what I'm observing. It's not just the question, but what's happening to people, the discomfort, the uncertainty, the lack of focus. Oh, I have 10, like the busyness in someone's mind. So I said, pick one. Everybody pick one. And then guess what I started hearing? Well, I'm going to put three. Like everyone's doing what they do, right? Here's the lesson. Here's the
Follow the
exercise.
directions.
So much resistance. Yeah. So then I showed them on the screen. All I did was ask a question. That's it.
Mhm.
You have to notice what's happening in you. Are
Yeah.
you feeling confronted? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you happy? Are you super focused? Do you know the answer? Was it right there? Oh, it's leads. Oh, it's picking up the phone. What is it for you, right? When I started showing them visually what they were doing, I was like, all I'm doing is asking a question, but just notice the room, notice the answer. So let's hear the answer. So then we got in a whole conversation about it. So then I asked another question a little while later that again, I would encourage the audience to do. And I said, how do you feel about money right now? And boy, like spinning, right? The room just kind of went so awkward, but I love that. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what I'm helping people break through, and they don't even know that they're doing
Yeah.
it,
I
right?
think you said something too that it's like, but they're becoming present to like, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? And I think that's one thing that the sessions, I think looking back in my life, I've always been a very present person just in general. And I always say that because, for example, right now, I'm in my 50s. And when I see my old friends, they're like, how do you remember that? I'm like, I just remember in that situation in high school or wherever we were, I was very present. And I know when I'm present, I have great memories. You were wearing the red shirt. You said this. We went here. We were with so and so. And people think I'm crazy because I remember in those situations I was present. But I feel like being in the sessions with you, being present with how I feel, being present with like you said, what's your biggest challenge? How are you feeling about money right now? Those people I think are just becoming, they're being more present with themselves.
Well, because it's already happening inside them. I'm not doing or saying anything that they're not always experiencing probably hundreds of times a day, right? And
But
then
they don't realize they're experiencing it hundreds of times a day.
that's exactly right. So they go to sales training after sales training and webinars and meetings and reading books and doing all these things, but nobody's really addressing the real cause, which I love that I do, because
Yeah.
it's like, well, you can go and get millions of books and tons of training and your bank account looks exactly the same
Mhm.
because 500 times a day or 4 hours a day, the average adult thinks about money throughout
Mhm.
the day. That's not in a row, 4 hours. How many hours are we awake during the day? So it's a big portion of your
Yeah.
day. You walk into a store, what's the first thing people do? Look at the price tag. That's expensive. Oh, that's good. And I'm talking again, the 80% of the population. The other 20% of people that are living in lavish were looped with the wealth loop. They don't have the lack loop, but a lot of
Right.
people do, right? It's just being aware, you see a price and well, how much is this going to cost me versus how much is this going to make me, right?
Yeah.
How can I take advantage of an opportunity that I've never experienced? It just depending on where that person is. But when you think about all those thoughts that are going on in someone's head, and if money's on the mind and it's lack or it's stress or there's not enough, or you're going to keep producing those exact same emotional experiences.
Right. And outcomes too?
For sure.
Yeah.
When you think about those 4 deals you got and then you closed them and they kind of all came in a big wave,
Yeah.
what was that experience like working with those people coming from that energy? Was it a little different than, "Oh my god, I need a deal?" Like, what was that like?
Well, yeah, I feel like the experience with the client was, say all the other clients, but the experience of where I was coming from was definitely different. Like you said, how do you put it? Like the laugh loop, right? I always joke before I met you, I just want to be like Calvin Klein B. And I feel like, oh, this is how you're Calvin Klein being. You know what I mean? There's that fragrance, Calvin Klein B. I just want to be Calvin Klein B. And it's just you're B, you're there, you're present. I came from corporate. I've been a realtor over 20 years, but prior to that I was in corporate. And so I've always kept my same schedule. So I just show up every day to my desk. I do my marketing, I do my calls, I do my job and it just starts showing up. It's like this is how it should be. This is how I am, Calvin Klein B.
Yeah, I always say it's if people understood the power and we hear we're powerful, meditate, of course, prayer. I'm very connected to God and the universe and source and resource, whoever it is you pray to. I'm a big believer that God doesn't live in the sky or outside of us. God is in us. God's in everything in the ocean, the trees, the breeze, the people, the planets, the animals, whatever kingdom, all comes from Creator. So we're all here for a duration of time. And I truly feel like our sole purpose here is to really heal, to be a person who can be a contribution at whatever level that is for everybody, because everybody has different gifts. And when we can evolve to a level of learning that helps people solve their problems really fast, I feel very blessed. And I have to tell you, over the years doing this, I didn't feel blessed. Everybody was telling me to have a corporate job. Everybody, all the people in my, what are you doing? I was a single mother. I didn't have another income. But there was something so much bigger pulling me and calling me to share this subconscious secret, if you will, that I started personally using in my business and life. And it changed my life dramatically. And through those personal experiences of starting to listen to my intuition, trust myself more, feel more, I'm not this little person who I was raised to be. I had to take a lot of bricks off myself. And through that freedom of mind and energy and resource, if you will, I always say I feel like this job called me. I didn't really choose it. Now everyone on the planet's a life coach. I never set out to be a life coach. I don't even like that word. I say I'm a game changer. I'm really not just a coach. I think it goes way beyond coaching people. It's real transformation. It's that integration of your cells, your soul, yourself, your heart, your spirit to live your life, to get the outcomes. And yes, the money thing I teach a lot because people live in such a lack consciousness, but that comes from a lack of worthiness. not enough self-value, a self-esteem issue. All the crap that they're carrying around, again, it's like, the Michelangelo thing. Once you kinda craft that perfect person on the inside, they're like, "Wow, I can do whatever I want." And I had to go through that experience myself. It doesn't mean we don't have problems, we don't have things that make us feel like crumb. And when I go through those experiences, I feel them fully. I have crummy
Mhm.
hours, but it's what do I do with it and how long do I stay in it or feel it?
Yeah,
And then how am I going to pivot out to get back to focusing on the things that I know are all around me? Instead
yeah.
of focusing and lasering on the one problem or the one thing, and that's all I'm talking about and thinking about and calling people about, and people just hammer their problems to death, and
Mhm.
that gives you no freedom of mind.
Right. Well, and you and I talk about that energy all the time. And I know that when I'm in that space that you're describing, it's like this drama came up. I just got to call so and so. I'm done talking to so and so. And now I'm going to call somebody else. It's like I'm rehashing that drama. And I realize, well, I realized this a few years ago, but it's like as much as I want to talk crap, as much as I love grabbing the popcorn and talking about someone's drama, I joke, as long as I'm not involved in it, it's still rehashing it and it pulls that energy. It's pulling you one way or the other, sideways. It's pulling you. So now I've just learned to, okay, like someone told me a long time ago, like water on a duck's back.
Yeah. I used to have this friend, she moved. I don't talk to her very much anymore. We had this rule in our friendship. She was a super cool lady. Something would happen. She was going through a divorce. I was a single mom. Our kids were little. It was many, many years ago. And call each other. We'd get together. We'd go out and be like, "Oh, he did this, and the kid this." And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, whatever." And we would kind of go through what we were experiencing because it was kind of difficult raising two kids alone. So we would get together. And then one day she said, "How about we set a rule for ourselves in life and let's see if we can practice?" And she had done sessions with me and she said, how about we get to complain about something 2 times? We can
Hmm.
tell each other, we can complain, but after the second person or the second time that we complain, we're done.
Hmm. It's a
And
good
I was
rule.
like, "That's a good rule," because I think as women, we do need to vent.
Yeah.
Men internalize their problems, and they like to analyze and overthink and then figure it
Hmm.
out themselves. Women need to talk about stuff. We have way more words, that's our brain, right?
I
So
call it thinking out loud.
yeah, I mean, we
Sometimes I just need to solve it. Let me think out loud. Okay, I got it. We're done. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
I agree. But that's the difference, right? When we have a drama or a problem and then we're beating the drum, here it is again, this person, this, then that's what starts to get that emotional energy in us really stuck because we're laser focusing versus pivoting a little bit and going, look at the abundance, look at the growth, look at the opportunity. We kind of stay stuck on that problem. And I want to give our audience a specific thing because this was really big for a person recently that I was coaching. She was sharing with me that her husband died and how stressful and sad. And of course, that's horrible and it was unexpected. And emotionally, as she's telling me the story and the tears coming in her eyes and sharing how she's been struggling and the money and the whole thing, he didn't set her up. After I said, how long ago did that happen? When do you think that occurred?
It sounds like it was recentish.
That's what I thought, but it was like 5 years ago. Emotionally, it was yesterday. So, this is really powerful for people with any problem. That's a big impact. I've had a lot of death in my family. I've had a lot of loss. It's painful. But our
Mhm.
choice is do we stay stuck in what happened 5 years ago because every day you're saying he should have done this and I did this and now I can't make money because of this and every reason why because this occurred has impacted because that is what she's emotionally living in. So when we can get rid of the emotion, the event already occurred, but emotionally, she's 5 years later, every single day beating the drum of her husband died, right? So it keeps her in a victim, it keeps her stuck, it keeps her sad. So that's a very powerful thing to be able to remove that emotional event for her and still say, your heart hurts and
Mhm.
not drag that event every day into your future because now she's creating out of that pain and out of that victim and I can't do it alone and all the other stuff I had to help her rewire. And she actually called me yesterday and said, I have this amazing opportunity that literally landed in my lap. I'm like, no, it didn't. I mean, she cleared a lot of the clutter.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So that's really powerful for people to get that we're creating every single day. We are the creators. And
Mhm.
one of my famous Cappi quotes is what we think and feel today produces our tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So, what are we going to feel today? What are we going to practice feeling? If I'm going to close my eyes and practice or see or feel world peace, even though that's not what's occurring, that's if I were to watch the news or whatever, I would not see that. But in
Yeah.
my mind, I'm going to spend my time there and feel it and see it and focus on that because what's that going to do for my heart and my frequency in the world?
Mhm.
Do you see the difference?
Mhm.
Or
Absolutely.
watching the news and being like, oh my gosh, blah, blah, like that's stressful. But
Yes.
that's what fear and information in people's homes and in front of their eyes 24/7, that is what we're being conditioned to feel is fear, stress, lack. There's not enough money. There's not enough gas. There's not enough this. There's war. Like that is a societal consciousness right
Yeah.
now. So it's our job as individuals to master our mind, to
Yeah.
spend time within, because you were created by the creator just as I was. We're only all here for a certain duration of time. I don't wanna waste my time living in the past or worrying about the future. I only have today, and if
Yeah.
I'm creating out of today, I'm gonna have a much richer, happier tomorrow.
Yeah. Along those lines, I want to say one thing that I feel like has been a major change for me is every morning I show up to work. And it used to be that it's like this feeling of hustle, hustle. I gotta make all my calls. I gotta, it's like the feeling inside of me is me breathing right now. Like, I gotta get this done. I gotta get that done. I've been in this business over 20 years and it was always that feeling. And I wouldn't get my work done. Told my husband, I need to go back to work after dinner so I can get everything done. Like, leave me alone. Da, da, da. That stressful feeling. But now I show up to work and I don't honestly know how it's changed. I know what has changed, but I show up and I get all my work done. And I don't know, I'm the same person as before, but I get all my work done. And I don't have that, I'm exasperated. And I wasn't like that on the outside, but I was feeling that on the inside. Like, and I love doing what I do. I'm excited. I'm 2 days this week. I was at my desk at 6 a.m. I like showing up to work. I want to get work done. But that feeling of like, I'm not going to get it all done. And now I'm going to bed without my work done. Like that is gone. That feeling of whatever I don't know what that's called. Stress, but there's got to be another word for it. Like that hustle. Nah, it's not there.
That in itself is priceless, girl.
Yeah.
You
It
couldn't take a
makes I
pill.
love what I do already, but it just makes it that much better to like, oh my gosh, I get to show up to work and I'm excited. Today I wrote an offer. I'm submitting an offer. I got a call that someone's sending me an offer. That client's going to send another offer check to that. Like those are all incoming calls. I didn't make those calls.
Love
So
it.
I'm like, yes, like how? Like, how do you do it? How does this work? I don't get it. I don't get
That's
it.
why I love it so
Just
much.
show up.
What would you say to somebody who's considering doing this work? What would you suggest or
What are you waiting for? Sign up. What are you waiting for? Whatever it is you're going through, whatever it is you're going through. We have friends in our lives that are struggling with decisions. We have friends in our lives that, let's say bring their personal lives into their professional lives and vice versa. This business as a realtor, and I know you work with other professionals, but this business being a realtor in this industry, no matter what you're in, it's a stressful industry. I don't feel this way anymore, but it's almost like you got to bend over backwards for everybody. And if you don't like me, if I don't bend over backwards for you, then you're not going to like me and you're going to use another realtor. It is competitive here. Maybe people are watching nationwide or worldwide, but where we are in Southern California, it's competitive. And I'm showing up on Google, thank God, but God forbid I don't answer my phone. They're calling someone else. Oh, you didn't pick up. It's competitive. So that's okay. I'm okay.
yeah,
Go
I
use
love
another
it. Well,
realtor. This
there's
is what
plenty
this is
for
all
everybody.
around.
Yeah. So speaking of which, Mickey, where can people find you if they do want to either work with you or get on your team or ask you questions about buying or selling? How can they get a hold of you? And
My information will be down below. Yeah, my website is homesbymickey.com. I'm pretty much Homes by Mickey on everything. My name is Mickey Tamifuna. That's my handle everywhere. I try to keep everything very consistent. I was told this week that my Instagram should be consistent with all my other stuff. My Instagram is a personal picture because it's my personal place. I do sprinkle in real estate in there, but you'll see pictures of me and my husband, my dog, my kids. and like real estate here and there. So I'm Mickey Tamifuna dash realtor or just Mickey Tamifuna. You can find me that way.
We'll put it in the notes below. So if anybody wants to get a hold of Mickey, you can click on her link. I'll put
Yeah.
the website down there. And then if
Yeah.
anybody's interested in working with me, I'll also put a link to book a consultation call with me. Right now, those are free. It's 30 minutes via Zoom. I can help identify what you need, where you want to go, what that looks like for your time and money investment. And if you're willing to hire an amazing coach, I encourage you to book a call. So, Mickey, thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your success and your outcomes and working with me. And I look forward to us doing a lot more together and
Yes.
empowering and encouraging you even more. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you in my next video.
Bye.